So don't know what that means. Hopefully, let's. Oh, I think it might be going soon. Hold on, let me just get rid of this. That ought to get it to go faster. No, I'm just gonna get whatever I get from here. Yeah. It says we're on air now. Who's to say if we actually are? Well, I guess I can look it up real quick, see if we are. All right, sweet. Gotta get an exit out of my homework. Not important. Not important for the podcast. Let us. Hey, we're live. How's it look? Are we looking good? Are we looking fine? Oh, okay. Well, I was good thing you do, because I'm not a magician. You know, I can't. I can only work with what I got. I was wondering what that was. I was gonna ask you guys. How do I get that effect? Oh, dude, now we're going. Now we're bloody rocking and rolling. All right, now I gotta make sure. Let's see if. I wonder if they can hear you guys. Well, we'll find out. Is anything capturing over here? It doesn't say anything's going. Oh, we'll see. Anybody let us know in the chat. How do I get this to go? We're gonna find out. All right, this will have to do. Let's go. Okay. Well, hopefully they can hear you. If you guys can't hear, if you can't hear them, then I don't know what to tell you. Here, I'm gonna check real quick. Guys, say something. All right, this will have to do. Let's go. Okay. Oh, I can't hear you guys. Then I don't know what to tell you. Here, I'm gonna check real quick. Guys, say something. Alright, this will have to do. Let's go. Alright, yep, can't hear you guys. Let's figure this out. We're gonna figure it out. Should have done this before, but I did it. What do you want to... I got an idea. New World tutorials. Here we go. Hold on 1 second. All right, I have an idea. It's gonna work. I'm 70% sure. All right, here we go. Where is this bad boy? All right. Say something now.
Hello.
Well, they'll hear you. They'll hear you through my mic now.
Oh.
But it'll work. All right. Now that we're done with those New World tutorials. Let me just double check.
Not to start a live stream.
I'm not to start a live stream.
This has been.
This is being. Now that
we're done with those tutorials. You're doing a lot better with this than I was with the video version of our podcast earlier.
Yeah.
It took forever.
Now I just hear. Oh, now we're fine. Okay. Well, we're back. Howdy there, true believers. Welcome back to New World Nerds. Now there's static. I don't know where it's coming from. It's going to be great. But we're live, people. This is live TV. All right. Thank you, guys. I don't know if anybody's here. Can't see the chat. We're doing fine. Howdy there, true believers. Welcome back to New World Nerds. I'm Superman Nico. This is an episode of the NewWorldNation podcast, a podcast where we rewatch and review one MCU movie. I should turn that off real quick. So I can talk. We rewatch and review one Marvel Cinematic Universe movie leading up to Avengers Endgame. Join us while we approach the end of the line, pal. We got a different co-host every week because I don't have any friends here. And this week, joining me is the Nerd Crew podcast. Make some noise.
What's up? How's it going?
I'm doing great. I hope the true believers are also doing great. We shall see. Now I'm just getting static. I don't know where it's coming from.
I can hear it through here.
Oh, God. Something's too close to something. It's getting louder. It's gaining strength. It has a mind of its own. It sounds like a Pac-Man game.
It really does.
Okay, that's not gonna work. Do. Live TV, people. Do. It's just gonna have to be this then. Ugh. I could hear you better just talking like this. Here, I got it. Do. All right, now we got it. Say something now. Say something now.
Hello, howdy.
There you go. I can hear you fine. That's all that matters.
Okay.
I just should turn up the gain real quick. Let us know how that sounds in the chat. Sounds terrible. Well, too bad. I can hear them. They can hear me. It sounds like it's working. So, what movie we're going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Iron Man 3. I feel like we have a little bit of different opinions on this one, finally. We agree on so much. We like so much of the same things, Andy. Now we're going to talk about something we disagree on. Okay, so just initial thoughts of the movie. What did you guys think of it?
Well, for me, the first time I saw it, we went and saw it like the opening week. And it was like, cause it came out around Christmas time, I remember that. And my family was like, yeah, we'll go watch it. And I was like, okay, it's a Marvel movie. We'll have to leave early to get there just to get decent seats. And my parents were like, oh, no, you don't need to do that. We'll get there like 5 minutes before the movie starts and we'll be fine. Well, we were sitting in the very, very front row. So I don't have very good memories of seeing it the first time. And I actually hated this movie for a very long time. But then when we actually started this podcast, I went back and watched it, and I really actually enjoyed this movie a lot more than I remember.
Good.
It got better and better as I watched it, so I really enjoyed this one more. It's not as good as the first Iron Man. It's better than Iron Man 2, I think. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie a lot more than other people did, which I'm totally fine with. So.
And Jason, you?
I had somewhat of a similar experience. I saw it a little bit, probably like a year after it came out, so that'd be around like 2014 would be a year after. And I didn't like it at all. I would have put it probably below like Age of Ultron in my ranking, which is kind of like the no-go zone for MCU. You know, that's kind of like the nobody's favorites gang is if you're below Age of Ultron. So not until like 2018 when I did like a full MCU marathon did I see it again. And I kind of came full circle on it, and I put it close to halfway on my MCU ranking now. I'd put it above a lot of different origin stories. I really enjoy it for a lot of reasons, and I think it's flawed.
Yeah.
All MCU movies are flawed somewhat, but I think it really stands out as one of the first strongly director-led movies in the MCU.
See,
by Shane Black.
I like how you said that, because I like Shane Black movies when they're not franchises. Like, anytime he's taken a franchise, I seem to like... It's not like, oh, like, I hate him or whatever. They're all terrible. But, like, I didn't like this movie, and I didn't like The Predator. Like, this movie, this was coming right off the heels of Avengers. This, I think, suffers kind of the same thing that Ant-Man and the Wasp suffers from. Like, it's coming off as such a monumental movie, it's so hard to follow. We're going in there expecting things, and some of those things, don't happen. For Ant-Man and the Wasp, like, it's just, we saw everything in the trailer. For this movie, we were expecting the Mandarin, and we did get the Mandarin. So I saw... This movie came out in May. Why do you think it comes... Did you watch it during Christmas time?
It's Christmas themed. That's kind of why.
Yeah. It's Christmas themed. That's why another thing I had a problem with. Why is a Christmas themed movie?
Did it really come out in May?
I promise you. I also just looked it up to make sure.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
May 2013.
Yeah, and
It's like a Christmas movie.
It's supposed to be a Christmas movie, but It came out the first weekend of May. I'm not in the Christmas mood for the first weekend of May.
No.
But even then, that's fine, whatever. I've never just gathered around the campfire with my family and been like, let's watch Iron Man 3. But there's, like, I think the first half of this movie is good. It just starts to go on a trail, and it trails off after, say, his Malibu house gets blown up. Then it kind of goes off the rails for me personally. And the second half, and then the Mandarin twist and blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that. But that's just my initial thoughts. I went to go see this again. I went to go see Avengers at midnight. I went to go see this movie at midnight with my friends, and it was just okay. And this was probably the first MCU movie that I saw that I thought was just okay. Because all the other ones, like, blew my mind when I went to go see them. And I know, like, looking back at it, there's a lot in Phase 1 that's not, like, super good compared to what we've gotten. But it still blew my freaking mind seeing Thor on the big screen and Captain America and stuff like that.
Right. See, this movie came out before, because there's so many of them now, I don't remember exactly when they came out.
Yeah.
But this one came out before Thor: The Dark World, right?
Yes.
Right. So I think it was this one, then Thor: The Dark World, right?
Correct.
So we went from Avengers to Iron Man 3, which initial viewing, we both kind of didn't like. We all three didn't kind of really, I think I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like Iron Man, or like you said, the Avengers movie, it wasn't as good as that. But then I think, like, those were, like, a stretch of movies where there was, like, the MCU went from, like, Avengers being great to, like, Iron Man 3 being, at first, okay, to Thor: The Dark World being the absolute crappiest MCU movie of all freaking time to, everything else. So I really think this movie was put in a really, really bad spot.
Yeah.
I think if you put Iron Man 3 in where, like a Thor, the Black Panther or anything else like that, I think it is received a lot better. I just think after the Avengers buzz, I think this movie suffered really heavily from it.
I think if Winter Soldier, which I love the schedule that they planned out, I think if Winter Soldier would have been the one to come right after Avengers, it would have been received a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think Winter Soldier's a better movie, obviously. But yeah, no, that is totally a really tough spot to fill because Avengers was like unprecedented.
Yeah, it changed.
And now Infinity War is unprecedented.
Yes, exactly. What was I gonna say? So there was some stuff I didn't like about it. So I'm just kind of go through my notes right now. So we start off with in New Year's 1999, Y2J. We see Jensen. Jensen's there from the first Iron Man, which is awesome. I love Jensen. Jensen is the only person in the MCU that stayed dead. He's just, so there's only a few people that can stay dead. It's Clark Kent's parents, Uncle Ben, and Jensen. Everyone else gets to come back. Tony's totally a douchebag to him. I totally wouldn't have helped you make an electromagnet to save your life in a cave. Happy's a dick for no reason. And he has the douchiest mullet. I love Jon Favreau, but ooh, does he look like a douchebag? Yeah, I already said Christmas movie in May, question mark, is in my notes. I feel like the Mandarin had so much potential. Like, just thinking about freaking, what's his name, Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin, getting like someone, I just feel like you got to get the ripped dude for the superhero. You got to get the actor for the villain. And boy, did we get one. He got me so excited. Guy Pearce, I was excited for him to be in this movie as well because I just saw him in this movie Lockout or Lockdown, the space prison movie. I don't know if you guys had seen that. It came out in 2013 or whatever. And that was really cool. So yeah, they had my hopes sky high especially for a villain as big as the Mandarin. Was almost an Iron Man 1, almost an Iron Man 2, didn't make the cut, and then we finally get him, and he's Trevor Slattery. It's funny now, and I think it might have been a little funny then, But it just, oh man, I love the one shot they did that they attached with Thor: The Dark World. I thought that was great. Where there's a true Mandarin out there. No, that's like releasing a fucking ultimate cut of Batman v Superman. You don't fucking get to cop out. You showed us what you thought. You thought that was good. You gave us that. Okay, don't fucking start with like, I can't turn in a paper and be like, okay, that one got a 70, but I did this little, I tweaked a few things, and this should get 100. You should make this my real essay. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
So there's also a part, Bill Maher is in this, and motherfucker was just talking shit about superheroes. Oh, but you can take the fucking check they give you.
Yeah, he'll take the paycheck. He'll just disgrace the man that created everything for us.
What a dick.
And make fun of all of us for watching it, but he'll take our money any day of the week.
Yeah. I didn't even know he was in this.
I have never, this is a total different tangent.
That's fine.
I have never liked Bill Maher. I think he is the most overrated piece of crap to ever walk through. Like, I think he is straight up trash. I've never liked him. I think he is the most talentless piece of junk everywhere, and so he can just go away forever, and I would be totally okay with that. Like, I wish that somebody would just snap him away. Like,
Thanos, you get one more try, but you only take one person out.
Snap Bill Maher.
And you, Jason, how do you feel about Bill Maher?
I'm just gonna second everything that you said.
I also think he's a piece of garbage. The thing is, I thought he was funny. I wouldn't like watch a show religiously or anything, but I'd catch it once or twice, once like a year maybe, and I always thought he was kind of funny. But then like after this, like, no, you're done. Me and you, donezo. Me watching your show, we're donezo. But yeah,
I really did though. Like the first half of this movie, the first act of this movie was handled and laid out very well.
Yeah, I agree.
The only part that I didn't really enjoy all that much, like I enjoyed it and it showed how like cocky Tony was, and it worked. It was just a little weird. Is when he like straight up gave the Mandarin his address and then chucked the dude's phone. Like I enjoyed it, but I was like, that was I remember sitting in my chair at the theater going, that was really dumb. That was really dumb to do that. And then he goes home and he's like, I've got to be on high alert. I just threatened a terrorist.
Yeah, when he's like, doorbell, I just threatened a terrorist. We're still doing the doorbell. Jarvis, we're on full alert. That was so funny.
And that's something that I got to bring up is something that I really, really like about this movie is like the iconic Tony Stark moments that it delivers. And I think that him delivering that address is totally in character. You know, because each of the 3 Iron Man movies is about him making a mistake and then recovering from it. And then his character just goes on from there. And the Russo brothers handle him really differently. But I feel like as for an iconic Tony Stark moment, you know, that people remember, then that's a really great moment. Even if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you know, it's totally something that he would do.
Right.
It's definitely a super good clip. You know, for the news that night is like, there's no politics here, just old fashioned revenge. Like it is freaking epic. It's a great trailer spot for sure. Not very smart, but I mean, Tony just defeated a bunch of aliens. He's ready. He's not sleeping. Like, I think they do a great job with the PTSD stuff. Like, he went through, like, he almost died. He got woken up by the Hulk screaming. Like, where does that make sense? Like, he's right. He's just a man in a can, and I think I thought they did a really good job.
I really enjoy how they handle his I really enjoy the aspect of him going through PTSD, because you going through a wormhole, getting ready to die, would give you PTSD, hardcore PTSD. And so, they use it as, a joke sometimes, because one of the other things I really enjoy is Tony and I forget his name, but the kids.
Harley.
Their chemistry together is amazing.
Because Shane Black always has great kid characters.
Yeah. Yeah, but,
the nice guys.
They're at the scene where in Tennessee, which, hey, shout out, we were in this movie. But,
I thought of you. I think I wrote that down on my notes somewhere. I'm not even joking. I did. It's somewhere. I was like, "Oh, that's you."
But when they were going kid just kept asking questions and questions, and like you see Tony just like go from normal to like hyperventilating, like ripping his jacket off in like complete like freezing weather and snow. Which, by the way, it does not snow in Tennessee. That is false. But like
we're gonna need a fact check on that.
Freaking out is amazing to see, because that would like anybody would freak out. You know, so I really love that they grounded his character that much.
For sure.
Are you going crazy? Are you freaking out? Do you want me to stop talking?
Is it? I didn't even say New York, and then you said it.
Yeah.
I love. Yeah, you're right. He definitely had great chemistry with that kid. Like, like when he's like, oh, like he just talks shit to him all the time. It's like, yeah, parents leave you, no reason to be a pussy about it. Or that he's.
There was one where he was like. Where Tony was getting ready to leave in his car, and he was
Yeah.
like, I'm so cold. He says, oh, why don't you cry about it, or something like that.
Yeah, he's just like, you want to know how I know you're cold?
We're connected.
Yeah, it was great. He's such a fucking dick. Hey, so I remember when what's his face, Aldrich Killian was showing Pepper Potts his big brain. Dude, he looked like he had some freaking Kimura beads. He like rolls them out, and they like make a hologram or whatever. I was like, those are Kimura beads. Like going back from freaking Black Panther now that I know. I was like, did they do that?
Yeah.
They could do anything. They could show you a brain. Party Protocol, why didn't he use that earlier? Don't think it was ready at the time when the helicopter's there. Would have made a lot of sense of doing it then, but I don't think they were ready. Also, him having the suits underneath there, that's so comic book. That's so cartoon for Tony Stark to have a freaking suit for every situation. And like we saw like promotional pictures for this movie, and it was always like, this is his stealth suit, this is his deep space suit, this is Heartbreaker, this is Heart Killer, like Heart Attack, and like they always have like a bunch of different suits, and I'm really glad we got to see a bunch of them. I didn't like how they're all made out of tinfoil in this movie. They all break super easily. No wonder. I'm gonna go ahead and chalk that up to that he hasn't gotten enough sleep, so he didn't get enough time to weld them all together. They're all very poorly done. But yeah, I didn't like how an Iron Man suit can take a freaking missile from a tank, and when Mach 1 can and Mach 42 can't take a fucking hit from a fire dude with fire breath.
I think part of that is like he just was so trying, and I know I'm trying to defend a comic book character.
We're trying to give a reach.
That's my job. Not my job, but that's what I like doing.
That's my job.
I wish it was my job. I'll take money if you want to give it to me. But like what I really enjoyed, like
support the Patreon.
Like, part of that I think is like he was trying to keep himself so distracted from going into another panic attack that he was just throwing stuff together to where it wasn't like fully like equipped. Like he wasn't like fully prepared for everything. He just thought he was because he had all this stuff together. And that's always been one of his character arcs is like he's all about making sure he is like completely protected in every situation. So like after Avengers, like he's all about, you know, saving the world. Like that's the end game up there. He mentions that in Avengers Endgame, or not Endgame, Avengers Age of Ultron. So like that's the whole point of Vision being brought around and Ultron being brought around, that type of thing. So he's all about like protection, and so it's really cool to have all of these different suits, even though they don't really work that well. Just the idea of having like, I forget how many suits he had, like 40. At that time, it was like 48, 50, something like that.
Well, he was at the Mark 42, so it was around 40 suits that he would have.
Yeah, which is still really cool to see that he had 40 suits just hanging out around his house. When most guys have cars, he has flying suits, you know.
Yeah, it was great. I like how when he's like downstairs doing pull-ups or whatever, and then he goes and straight up he asks Pepper for help. Like he's like, I'm a hot mess. Like no, like I think it's great. Like I think that's probably the biggest problem with most people suffering from, especially like from mental illness, is just asking for help in general. And I love how he's just like, sorry, I was being a dick earlier. I'm a hot mess. And then I hate how she's like so he asks for help, and then they go to bed after presumably they do it, whatever. She says, go and tinker with that. It's like, come on, like he didn't mean to do it, like he's hurting. Like I understand, like this movie is meant to make him feel isolated. So I get it. There was one thing I did want to bring up, and since I know that you love the Dark Knight trilogy, that these holograms like that he uses to like find the evidence of the bomb and find out what Happy was doing in the Chinese theater is about as logical as finding a fingerprint from a bullet casing.
From a bullet casing from just randomly shooting. Yeah. Listen, we look over that. Okay.
Exactly.
Everything else about that movie is perfect. We just look over that part. I think I like blinked during that part. I don't remember.
Yeah. I never saw it.
Never saw it.
It sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds cool. If that's how it really works, then I don't know why we all don't use that.
I'm the world's greatest detective.
We call it the pimp particle. We'll call it a theory or whatever.
Yeah.
whenever something in a comic book movie just makes no sense, it's a pimp particle.
Yeah. There are some things in some comic book movies that even that doesn't work for.
Right.
Oh, there's another part where right about when the Malibu home's about to get blown to shit, I like how he like shuffles the scientist away. I don't remember her name. Doesn't really matter. She doesn't stay alive for very long. But he's like, please don't tell me there's a 12-year-old kid waiting in the car. And she's like, he's 13. He's like, like for a second, and then he's like, no, I'm just fucking with you. It was so funny.
This movie really shows a lot of sides of like Tony's character that are really cool. So like you get like his humor side, but then you see him like struggling with like PTSD, and then like him losing his house and Pepper thinking he's dead, and like things like that. You really see story arcs in this movie that really set up for like Civil War and for Infinity War and for Endgame, which is really cool to see. Even all the way back in like Iron Man 3, this was like the stepping stones to where he is now, which is really cool to see.
For sure. So, do you guys think that Harley will be in Endgame, maybe make a cameo?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, definitely heard rumors about it.
I think you'll see almost every villain probably in this movie at some point.
No, Harley, the kid.
Oh, that kid. Sorry, I got screwed up. I was thinking of the other guy.
Aldrich.
Yeah, no, you'll see Harley.
I saw a rumor that he might show up in Endgame. Be a really good moment, like a passing of the torch. Maybe Tony's gone. Yeah. They need a new Iron Man, or maybe when they go to the future or something. Like
I would like for him to be like Iron Lad or something like that, unless they want to go
Ironheart.
Because in Iron Lad, like he goes from being Iron Lad to
that would be interesting because Iron Lad is destined to become Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah.
Which would be a very cool setup. Yeah. But I don't know if that's plausible.
So
now, I mean, it would be cool. It would be cool to see him.
Yeah.
Again.
That'd be really cool. The Iron Lad thing turning into Kang the Conqueror. Because I have this theory where like once we get after Endgame and stuff, we need to get rid of the Infinity Stones, right? Because we can't just have them lying around and be like, why don't you guys just assemble the Gauntlet again? Like I have this theory where the stone will become a person, or a person's trapped inside of each stone. Like Galactus is the Power Stone because he's from the world before. The Mind Stone could be like the Phoenix Force and stuff like that. So I thought like the Time Stone could be like Kang the Conqueror, and like because he travels through time, he wears green. Kind of had to figure out some color schemes as well. It's not, there's definitely cracks in it, but I thought that would be cool because I think Kang the Conqueror is cool.
Yeah, I really hope we get to see him at some point in the MCU.
Definitely.
I hope we get to see like most of the major villains in the MCU at some point.
Now, when there was that rumor that they're developing a Young Avengers script.
I've heard they're doing a Young Avengers. I've heard they're doing Dark Avengers. Like I hear that they're basically getting a script for every iteration of any Avengers or any storyline after this.
They're like, look, we're gonna need some ideas after this.
Yeah, we're gonna go in one direction. We just don't know which direction yet.
We're gonna
if you put Avengers on it, it'll make $2 billion.
We're gonna test out everything at Endgame when we go through time and shit like that. We'll see some Young Avengers, whichever gets the biggest pop. We're gonna go ahead and greenlight.
Yes, they're gonna push it to the moon.
So then we get our first Mr. Stark I'm sorry in this movie when he gets captured by the bald dude who's always eating something, who I hate that guy. Like, I hate that character. I don't really have a reason. He's not somebody I know from the comics, so he's fucking. I hate him. And he's always eating. Why are you always eating something? But not the point. But he grabs Harley or whatever, and Harley's like, he's like taking Harley, and Harley's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Stark, and I was like, too soon. I was like, what? Like, I know you guys had no idea this was gonna happen, but it still hurt me.
Knowing Kevin Feige, he might have known that was gonna happen.
He knew. Shane Black and nobody else knew, but Kevin Feige fucking knew.
He knows everything.
He's like, put that line in there.
Yeah. It means nothing. Just put it in there.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it's in character. You would say that. We got the Excelsior moment from this movie. I usually put a sound effect, but this is live, so there's no sound effect. But he's a judge at a pageant, Stanley. And
yes.
This is nice.
Yes.
Very nice, Stanley.
Very nice.
At least these ones have their clothes on, unlike in Deadpool.
That was one of my favorite ones, though.
Yeah, it's really good.
One of my favorite ones, though.
I was going to say my favorite cameo isn't really a cameo because he has like a full-fledged role. Have you guys ever seen Mallrats?
Yes.
I freaking love that movie. So, yes, he's super great in that one.
I really enjoy his cameo in Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Oh, yeah, that was great. That whole movie was great. I love that movie. So, I want to know what you guys thought of the Mandarin twist.
I'll let Jason go first.
All right, go.
Oh, boy. All right, here's my thing with the Mandarin. I think that Ben Kingsley did such a great job, with playing an intimidating Mandarin and also playing the actor Trevor Slattery. I thought he was hilarious. Transitioning into Guy Pearce wasn't as interesting. And I don't think Guy Pearce was nearly as interesting of a villain as the Mandarin they set up.
Agreed.
But what I appreciate about the Mandarin twist is that it is a truly subversive moment in a comic book movie, and I think that throughout, especially the entire MCU, but comic book movies in general, we don't have enough really subversive moments. And I think Infinity War was obviously a really, really big example of that. But I really enjoyed having, the rug pulled out from under you in this genre of movie where you usually go in having an idea of what's going to happen in the movie. Even in Infinity War, people were going in saying, Thanos could snap at the end of the movie, they could get away with mass genocide. We're just going to have to find out once we end the movie. But with Iron Man 3, it's something that nobody really expected. And even though it wasn't perfectly executed, and I don't think that the end result with the Mandarin was as interesting, because he was just kind of like Mandarin, AIM, Extremis all rolled into one guy. I do think it was subversive, and I really enjoyed that about it.
Yeah, I really like one of the kind of what you're going for. One of the biggest critiques I have for superhero movies in general is they're basically all the same for the most part. You have your hero. If it's an origin story, they get their power. They try to figure out what's going on with their power. Then there's a villain. The villain seems like it's going to win. The hero always wins. It's always the same thing. And with this, it was we all thought we knew who the villain was, and then all of a sudden, like you said, we get the rug pulled out from underneath us, and I love it. I love twist, and that's why I really enjoy. And I screw his name up every time. But he does Glass. He did Glass. He did
M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan, yeah. He always throws in twists, always, which always makes his movies interesting. And I really enjoyed that. In this, we got a twist that was it pissed people off, but sometimes people need to get pissed off, and I was totally fine with that. And the Mandarin as a whole, I really enjoyed the shots they were getting of him at the beginning. Of him killing all these people and calling out the president, things like that. That was really cool. But then when you hear him talk of they wouldn't even give me a gun, that was really I thought that was hilarious to see. So I was all for it. I was totally fine with the Mandarin being pulled. I wasn't a big fan of Guy Pearce, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of him throughout the entire movie anyway. So. I didn't like him all that much, but the reveal didn't bother me as bad as everybody else. I actually kind of enjoyed it a little bit.
Gotcha. So there's something that Jason said that it really like hit home with me. It's just like no, like you should like there everything's predictable and it's good to have it subvert sometimes. And I agree with you. And I get it. Like some of the best moments I have in movies are when I'm genuinely surprised. Like Civil War, especially like in this day and age where like guys like us who like are always looking at comic book news or comic book rumors and stuff like that for these upcoming movies, it's hard to be surprised now. So like when Giant Man came out in Civil War, I was like, I literally said, "Holy shit!" Like that was really cool. I wasn't expecting that. I know, like there were some hints like in toys that it was Giant Man was gonna come out. I didn't care about that. Like they make toys, they make a spider car. Like Spider-Man's not flying in a spider car, like a spider cycle. And then again in Split at the end when they reveal that David Dunn's there from Unbreakable, that made me say, "Holy shit!" Like no fucking way. Like I'm surprised, and I totally get what you're saying. We definitely need more stuff like that, or maybe not need more stuff like that. It's just I think what you said was that Ben Kingsley did a really good job of selling that Mandarin. I think that's why it left such a bad taste in my mouth when they with the Mandarin twist, the Mandarin reveal, is because I would have loved to see Ben Kingsley take a shot for real at this because those little promos, let's call them that, where he's talking about fortune cookies, you'll never see me coming, like all that stuff. Like he did such a great job. And then every time for the next 3 movies I saw with Ben Kingsley in them, I just thought would have been a great Mandarin. And I understand there's some controversy about the character, he's might be a racist caricature, and I just feel like we could modernize it and win it back, you know what I mean? Make it to where it's not so controversial and stuff like that. Oh, and we're live, baby. Justin said so in the chat. There's a few people in the chat. What's up? Webhead, how you doing? Miss Tez Faves? Yeah, looking good. Sorry. But yeah, I think I can totally see why they would do it. I just think they did too good of a job selling the Mandarin as Ben Kingsley first.
And I really think, once again, this all kind of falls back on the placement of this movie. I think if Iron Man 3 came out, if you, like you said, swapped where Winter Soldier was and where Iron Man 3 was, I don't think people would be as upset with the Mandarin twist as, right after this big, amazing movie, The Avengers. Now we're expecting everything to be, epic all the way through, and we get the Mandarin twist, and people, that's not what they thought would really work. And so, I totally get it. I totally understand why people don't like the Mandarin twist. But, I really think, the placement of this movie kind of hurt this movie. And I think it's a little different than Ant-Man and the Wasp, because I think if you put Ant-Man and the Wasp anywhere, it's still not that great. So, but I really, like I said, I first went and saw this movie, and I hated it. I hated it. And then watching it again, I was like, I don't really remember why I hated this movie. And so, I really think it was just the placement of it, and everybody was coming off this big, emotional, epic movie with the Avengers, and then it kind of all just, with this movie, it all just kind of fell apart because it was in not the best place, but then the Mandarin twist and things like that.
Mm-hmm. And Avengers was a movie that was about delivering on expectations, and it absolutely did its job, and it absolutely nailed that. Mm-hmm. So to have a twist that kind of pulls the rug out from under you, that's why I think the initial reaction was so mixed and poor.
Yeah.
Or a big part of it, at least.
Yeah.
And I think that Guy Pearce's villain, or his Mandarin, wasn't very good. If maybe his would have been better, the Mandarin twist would have been saved. And I think maybe if we would have gotten more Iron Man later with a real Mandarin, maybe That would have helped too, knowing that we would eventually get it. I definitely like it's a good idea, but I think that just Guy Pearce just is in a fiery rage saying, "I'm the Mandarin," and having dragon tattoos for no real reason. I don't know why he was sporting that or why that was important, but he just has them. And then he's like, "I'm the Mandarin." And then there's another thing I wanted to bring up. The extremists. Sometimes stuff kills them. Sometimes it doesn't. The explosion kills Guy Pearce. Doesn't kill Pepper Potts. When you blast him in the face, he can recover, even though it would take out his brain, which is doing all the repairing. But when you shoot him through the chest on an airplane, he's dead for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those of like, we have this power or we have this thing just to move the story along.
Yeah,
like all it's really there for is just to advance the story. So that on that part, it's lazy. I think it's lazy writing. I think they could have come up with something a lot better than what they did at some points. But like, it's still a really, really cool idea, like of what it is. But I don't think it worked out as well as it could have.
Yeah,
I would also say that this movie doesn't exactly play by comic book movie rules. It kind of plays more by action movie rules.
Yeah.
And I think that in the same way that like Thor Ragnarok kind of plays by comedy rules, and they still fall under the same blanket, but it's kind of a different style of film. Yeah. And so things kind of work differently and they don't quite make as much sense. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think that if you have a badass villain, he can't wear khakis. Like, there's nothing scary about a pair of khakis. And he was definitely
debatable.
and he just kept jumping around in some khakis. And I was just like, come on. At least wear some warm-ups. You're jumping around a lot. Yeah. Like, you gotta be able to stretch and bend. Speaking of outfits, why is Rhodey just wearing a polo in his frickin' in his War Machine suit?
Oh, I know that part. That got me laughing.
Like, it's weird. But like Tony was wearing it like Under Armour and stuff like that. That seems to make a little bit of sense to me.
Yeah.
But like, did you just shop at Walmart? Like, I'm confused.
He just went from like a meeting at like or wherever he works, the Pentagon or whatever, straight into his work.
But that seems like a suit and tie occasion at least. Where is he? Yeah. He's at the golf course, I guess. He just didn't want to change. I liked their dynamic between each other. When they're like about to get the party protocol, I just didn't like. It just didn't feel like Rhodey. I don't know. He just didn't do it for me in that scene. I don't know why. But it's just like, I like you, but if you got shot right now, it wouldn't be very sad.
Rhodey was like, I didn't like him all that much in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
And he was just okay here. But like, he really started to pick up in like Civil War and in Infinity War.
Yeah,
He's really started to kind of pick up a little bit more. What I did like though is like when Tony doesn't have his suit and like Rhodey gives him a gun.
Yeah.
Like he unloads the chamber in like 2 seconds. Like, all right, I'm out. Give me another clip.
He's like, they're not
that much.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. And then he's just like, he's like, how many are there? I don't know. I went too quick. I couldn't see. It was great. So yeah, there's definitely highlights for it for sure. I already said that. I was like, some explosions kill them? Question mark. It's like I am Iron Man.
It's the same property though of like, if you put 6 stones together, you can snap away half the universe. Like, you can really kind of put that logic on anything.
No. That's how that would work. we're all aware.
Oh, okay.
There's
6 stones that you can just snap everything away.
Yeah, I learned that.
There are some things in comic books that you can look past, like comic book movies you can look past. But like I said, there are some things that are like so stupid that you can't really look past. And I think that is like one of them that is like super close to like, oh, some blow them up, some don't. Like, some kill them, some don't. It's just, it's really weird.
It also wholly depends on presentation. With a comic book movie,
it
depends on 100%, how you present it, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Because so many of the twists and the rules that DC movies play by, it just is like, I know this is a comic book movie, but it's like, I can't do it.
Plus, Batman should never kill anyone, and he did. So yeah, that rule applies there as well.
Yeah. We can't help it but talk about Batman v Superman in every podcast we've ever been in.
That's how bad it
I don't think we brought up Batman v Superman in the NXT Takeover podcast. Just good.
No, but I probably could have found a way to put it in there somewhere.
That's a New World Wrestling podcast name drop.
I really hope one time one wrestling match just stops because they both have the same, like their moms have the same name.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't want to hit you down, man. We both just lose. Like.
You could have saved that moment. I'm not going to go into it. We're not going to talk about it. He's just like, I like when he throws his old ticker arc reactor into the ocean because I'm pretty sure he just made Iron Fish his villain for Iron Man 4. That's in my notes. It's the end. He's like, I am Iron Man. It's like, oh, what a great conclusion. Oh, wait, he'll be back and he's going to create a super bot. Like, he'll be back in a few months. Like, I want him in the movie, so I can't complain or anything like that. Like, if an Avengers movie without Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man would feel so weird.
It would.
But I would have liked them to be like, I just fucking couldn't help it. I am Iron Man. You guys, fucking, what do you want from me? This is what I do. You thought I was just going to stay on the sideline? There was Chitauri Tech. I had to corral it. I just hate how this is the first movie in Phase 2. We got every movie in Phase 2 had someone losing an appendage. This one was Aldrich Killian. He gets it's an ode to Empire Strikes Back because when Luke lost his hand. That's not a joke. Kevin Feige said that. But what was I going to say? Oh, in the way Avengers Age of Ultron picks up, it makes it seem like they've all been fighting together for like this time since. And I'm like, no, motherfucker. I was waiting for anybody else to cameo in any of these solo movies, and they never did. Like, I think it's hard to bring superheroes together. It's even harder to split them apart and have them have solo adventures again. So I think that also is what this movie suffers. Like, why didn't you just call the Hulk to beat what's his face? Like,
well, I think that kind of I think Captain Marvel might face that a little bit of like.
Yeah, for sure.
Why didn't Nick Fury call you when when there was a wormhole?
Yeah.
In New York.
I hope there's a really good explanation.
I do too.
That. I can see them going with that Nick Fury just wants like his final contingency plan to stay that way.
Yeah.
He's like. Until the world ends, it's like we're going to intend as though it keeps on spinning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, just a tangent, but
yeah, we definitely talked about that in the last episode when we talked about the Avengers. We brought that up. It's like, he's just like, call in whatever. It's time to call in the Avengers. Captain Marvel? Stop it. Like, it's just like he's telling Phil Coulson. Like, Phil Coulson knows, like, he was in the 90s. And he's just like, what about Danvers? And he's just like, shut your stupid mouth. She's in space, you idiot. Like, I don't know.
I really hope, I really, and I know this isn't anything with Iron Man 3, but I really hope, they explain, like he says, and one way I thought is, she has to stay, with the Kree world or wherever, to protect it.
Yeah.
She can't leave unless it's, an dire emergency where half the planet, half-life on every single planet is completely gone. I think that's more than just, there's some aliens on Earth, or there's robots killing everybody on Earth.
I could see her still being allegiant to the Kree. Yeah.
What if, because you know how we're getting she's like, maybe I used to live on Earth. What if it's the opposite? Like, she was a Kree, left on Earth, and then she was brought back to be a Kree, so she's originally a Kree. And that's why hey, it's a good way to protect all my people. Maybe stopping the guy that killed half of everybody. Yeah. They killed half of my planet too. I'm fucking coming for you. You better fucking try and I'm gonna aim for the head. Alright, that's all I gotta say about Iron Man 3. What else would you guys like to say about Iron Man 3? Is there anything else?
No, I don't think the hate that this movie really gets is very valid. Some parts it's valid, some parts it's not. I really think, though, if you go back and just watch it with an open mind again, it will be better than you really remember it being.
I do have to mention the scene where everyone is falling out of the airplane.
Oh, yes.
And he's flying around catching them. That's one of the best sequences of all of Phase 2.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That scene is amazing, and it's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah,
totally.
I love Barrel of Monkeys, for sure. I did like that a lot, and I like how they even like on his trailer proofed it a little bit. He's like, "I'll electrify your hand because you won't be able to open it." I always feel like just those little extra bits of exposition are just like, for when the Honest trailer comes out, you guys can't talk shit about that. I thought that was good. So where would you? I guess I think this is a consensus that this is the second best Iron Man solo movie.
Yes.
Yeah, because Iron Man 2.
Where would you put this trilogy-wise?
I think, how many trilogies we got? We got 3 trilogies? Are we including Avengers as well?
In the MCU?
Well, I'd say either MCU or we can do...
Oh, I don't think it ranks very high because I think 2 is pretty weak. Like, I like some stuff in it, but, like, I'm still, like, 50-50 on this movie. I think the first one's really good. I don't know. And then there's so many. It's like, is it a trilogy? There's also one more that was no good. Or like, is the original trilogy a trilogy? Because there's a bunch of other movies. But so Star Wars is probably like one of my favorite trilogies. So I don't know. I don't even. This might be my like top 10. Maybe no. I don't even want to say that. I like Iron Man #1 a lot, and I like Iron Man in Avengers and Civil War and Infinity War like so much more than I like him in 2 or 3.
I think the weakest trilogy in the MCU by far is Thor, because 1 and 2 were not that great.
See, like everyone talks smack about Thor 2, and I'm not trying to defend it. Don't come after me. like I just when I walked out of that movie theater, I was like, that was exactly what I thought it was gonna be. So I would like it would hit my exact expectations, and it was fine. Like there was some fun. I was just expecting to like laugh a little bit. I thought Malekith was a terrible villain, but I wasn't there to go see him. I was there to see Thor. I was there to see Loki. I was there to see those people. So, and I liked Thor, especially when it came out. It's really hard to judge those Phase 1 movies like on like what we have now. I think Phase 3 is definitely the best phase of MCU. Definitely most consistent. And Thor, what'd you say?
Until Phase 4 comes out.
Yeah. And then we're going to get your Dark Avengers finally, and then we're going to be all good. But I really like Thor Ragnarok. I think Iron Man might be... it's so hard to say because I think Iron Man's the weakest trilogy in the MCU for me. I'm going to say it, don't shoot me. Because I like Thor Ragnarok. I rewatched it, and I just thought it was so great. I like the first Thor more than I liked Iron Man 3, so that's what puts it ahead. Captain America might be the best trilogy. Like, it's a good trilogy outside of the MCU as well. Avengers, I still liked Age of Ultron. I thought it brought up a bunch of cool ideas, and I think it had to do so much setting up the entirety of Phase 3 almost, solo movies for a bunch of people, and it still managed to make an entertaining movie where we got more Infinity Stones, more superheroes that didn't just have punching powers like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. They actually have different kinds of powers. So that's why I think Avengers is probably either at Captain America or right underneath.
Yeah, I think I would put Iron Man above Thor because I did not like Thor: The Dark World at all. And I've even tried to go back and watch it, and it's just I don't know what it is about that movie, but it really all falls apart. Turn that off. But yeah, it really all kind of for me, Thor: The Dark World kind of falls apart, and then Thor was okay. I enjoyed it when I first watched it, but then going back and watch it again, you kind of see a lot of the flaws in it. Thor Ragnarok, I absolutely loved. I think it's by far the best Thor movie. Iron Man, I really enjoyed. Iron Man's in my top 3 favorite MCU movies of all time. And so, Thor, Iron Man is one of my favorite top favorite MCU movies of all time. Iron Man 2 is not good at all, and then it's okay. And then I really enjoy Iron Man 3, so that's why I would put it above Thor's trilogy. Then we were talking about this earlier, Captain America, when we first saw it, Captain America was good, kind of the same thing, but it wasn't the best. But the leap from Captain America to Winter Soldier was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier is one of the best MCU movies ever, and then the leap from Winter Soldier to Civil War, which is my favorite MCU movie of all time.
Same.
Is like,
Infinity War is fighting with it.
Do I?
I said I was like, yeah, same with Civil War, but I was like, Infinity War is up there fighting Civil War. Like, I love both those movies so much.
I think like as a movie wise, Civil War is my favorite, but like as like the big event, I think Infinity War tops everything. But like the leap from Winter Soldier to Civil War was massive as well. So like Captain America is up there for sure. Avengers is definitely up there for sure. So like there's a lot of great MCU trilogies until and then we'll get like the third Ant-Man movie and it'll probably be crap. So,
It better not be.
It better not be.
It better not be.
But
Edgar Wright comes back.
Anyway,
I'm just kidding.
Then that's not good.
I will be so sad.
I urge you guys to rewatch Ant-Man and the Wasp on Netflix. I rewatched it on
I
Netflix.
actually did.
And you still didn't like it? You still hated it?
I think I liked it less.
Oh my god. No, I rewatched it and I was like, hey, it's not bad.
You know what? I have a very complicated relationship with Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it's like it's one that I want to like so bad because I love Ant-Man, and I think he's something that's really original even within the MCU.
Yeah.
You know, and I loved the first Ant-Man when I saw it, and even if I don't think it's one of the best, it's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like every time I watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's just like I pick out something else that I'm like, okay.
Well, and this kind of seems very hypocritical of me, but Goliath in that movie was trash.
I just don't understand why he was Goliath.
I don't either, and like, then he's like, and I know we're totally infringing on whoever does the Ant-Man the Wasp review, but, like, you go from like, oh, I'm a good guy, oh, I'm a bad guy, oh, I'm back to being a good, like, you were terrible, like, he was terrible in that movie.
He's just a guy, and then they like frame him in different lights, and like when they're all tied up to the chairs and stuff, like he walks out and he's like, "Sorry, I had to help her," and they play like ominous music, and they frame him as a bad guy, and I'm like, he's talking to Hank Pym, and he's a good guy, and it's just like, he's just a guy,
Plus, the one thing I don't like about Ant-Man movies is their villains are very forgettable. Very forgettable.
A lot of MCU, especially Phase 2 villains are. But we're on a tangent, all right? We're Iron Man 3, we're back. All right.
We can get the end game real quick.
All right, it was great, though. Like, I love you guys' enthusiasm. Apparently, I have to have you guys back on for Ant-Man and the Wasp, because we'll have lots to talk about on that, too. Like, usually when I have people on, they just agree with me, but, like, we have the same ideas and stuff like that, so I'm glad you guys were here to shed some light on the Mandarin twist. That's my favorite dance move, the Mandarin twist. All right, so thank you guys so much for joining me. If you guys like those two bloody legends, go follow them on the Nerd Crew YouTube channel. They're also on SoundCloud, iTunes. Their Nerd Crew podcast aired right before this one, so go ahead and check that one out. Me and Andy do New World Wrestling. Don't worry what day it comes out. You'll get it whenever it comes out. Get off my back.
Whenever it comes out. Whenever it decides to work and let me upload something for once, then you'll get it.
The struggle, man. That's just the struggle of all of us. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jason. We had never talked before. I'm glad we got a chance to. Yeah.
We're definitely going to do an episode with Nico in the future, so check that out. Make sure.
Yes. Follow or subscribe to our channel. Leave a like. Do all that stuff. Follow us on Twitter at NewWorldNerds. That's all I got for you today, folks. It's probably going to take me a little while to figure out how to end this live stream. So keep an eye out there, true believers, and while I figure it out.
Do the Mandarin twist while you do it.
Yeah, do the Mandarin twist. All right.